Hello students, today I'll be taking some important problems on integrals. I'll start with solved example 41 which says that I is equal to integral of square root of cot x plus square root of tan x dx. So what we do is let's write this also in terms of tan. I get it as 1 upon square root of tan x plus square root of tan x into dx. Let's put root tan x as t so that tan x is equal to t squared. Differentiating we get sec squared x dx is equal to 2t dt. Now this sec squared x can be written as 1 plus tan squared x and dx is as it is equal to 2t dt. Now let's see what we get in the integral gets converted to what? I is equal to integral of, in place of root cot x I can write it as 1 upon t plus root tan x is t whole into, now in place of dx I'll get 2t dt upon 1 plus t square tan squared. Now 2t dt upon 1 plus tan squared will become t raised to the power 4. This is a very important point which has to be kept in mind, because tan x is t squared, so tan squared x will become t raised to power 4. Simplifying we get t squared plus 1 upon t equal to 2t dt upon 1 plus t raised to power 4. This t gets cancelled. We are left with t squared plus 1 upon t4 plus 1. This is another very important point to be noted. Whenever we have an integral like this to be solved, where there are only even powers and something like this, what we do is we take out t squared only common from both numerator and denominator. Even if here we have t raised to power 4, but we'll take out only t raised to power 2 common. So t squared gets cancelled from both numerator and denominator. We are left with 1 plus 1 upon t squared plus 1 upon t squared. Now we convert the denominator to a perfect square. Now very obviously, taking a as t and b as 1 upon t, if I convert it to a perfect square, I can convert it at, because this is a squared plus b squared, it can be a part of a plus b whole squared, it can be a part of a minus b whole square. But we will choose it depending upon what we have in the numerator, so that when we differentiate this, you should get the numerator. So obviously, since here there is a presence of plus sign, we'll convert this into t minus 1 upon t whole squared. So obviously, in order to convert this, what do we have to do? We have to subtract 2t into 1 upon t, that is t squared plus 1 upon t squared minus 2 becomes t minus 1 upon t whole squared. So if we have subtracted 2, we have to also add 2. Now putting this as u, the numerator gets absorbed in du, and we get this into a standard form, that is du over u squared plus 2. 2 can be written as root 2 whole squared. Applying the result, it becomes 1 upon a, that is 1 upon root 2, tan inverse u upon a, that is u upon root 2. Substituting back and solving, we get the answer as root 2 tan inverse, taking the LCM, tan x minus 1 upon root 2 tan x plus c. Now similarly, we can do another question which has only root tan x or only root cot x. So I'll take up just one of them. The other one can be done on the same lines as this one. So let's start this. Just as above, we will take up root tan x as t. On the same way, we have tan x equal to t squared, and moving exactly as in the previous question, sec squared x dx is 2t dt. Then dx gets converted to 2t dt upon 1 plus tan squared, that is 1 plus again t raised power 4. So the integral gets converted to t times, because of square root of tan x, into dx gets converted to 2t dt upon 1 plus t raised power 4. This becomes t squared over 1 plus t raised power of 4, which is again only in terms of even powers. Again, from the denominator we take out t squared common, which gets cancelled with the numerator. We are left with 1 upon t squared plus 1 upon t squared. Now this question, unlike the previous one, in the previous one we had, along with the denominator t squared plus 1 upon t squared, we had something in the numerator which helped us in deciding how to convert this into a perfect square. Now, but here also we have to proceed further. So what we do is, we can write this as the numerator as 1 plus 1 upon t squared plus 1 minus 1 upon t squared. Now this 1 upon t squared and minus 1 upon t squared gets cancelled. We are left with 2. So we have to divide with 2, which gets cancelled by the 2 outside the integral. Now splitting these two integrals, we have one integral having in the numerator 1 plus 1 upon t squared, the other integral having in the numerator 1 minus 1 upon t squared. Now accordingly, we convert the denominators into perfect squares. So let's call it I1 and let's call it I2. In this case, just as the previous one, we have in this case, just as the previous one, we can convert this into t minus 1 upon t whole squared. So plus 2 we will get. And this one, since there is a 1 minus 1 upon t squared in the numerator, we will convert it to t plus 1 upon t whole squared. And since in doing so we are adding 2, we have to subtract 2. Over here in doing so, we were subtracting 2, so we added 2 here. Now let's solve these two integrals. I1 is what? Here if you put this as t, this gets absorbed in dt. Or if you put this as u, this gets absorbed in du. And we get, this gets converted to tan inverse. Whereas in this case, if you put this as, here in this case we have to put t plus 1 upon t as v. So the numerator, that is 1 minus 1 upon t squared dt, becomes dv. And this gets converted to the standard form v squared minus root 2 whole squared, that is 1 upon 2a, that is 1 upon 2 root 2 log of v minus a upon v plus a, which on substituting gets simplified to this. Now adding I1 and I2, we get one tan inverse term and one log term. Substituting the value of tan x and simplifying, t as tan x, and simplifying, we get the required result. Now let's take up one more question. It's a question which is a definite integral involving modulus functions. Now what we do is, the question that this is again a solved example from the NCERT, solved example 43. It says integral from minus 1 to 3 by 2 modulus of x times sine pi x dx. Now just as the usual modulus questions, we have to first redefine the modulus function and then accordingly decide the intervals. So let's see what we get. So this interval minus 1 to 3 by 2 can be divided into minus 1 to 0, 0 to 1, 1 to 3 by 2. Let's see what we get. When x belongs to minus 1 to 0, here x sine pi x becomes, x is negative in this interval and sine pi x is also negative. Now why is this negative? Because sine varies from sine of minus pi to sine of 0, which is the third and the fourth quadrants, and in both of these sine is negative, and that's how we get minus into minus, which is plus. Now when x lies in the interval 0 to 1, obviously x is positive, but sign is again negative. Let's see how. Sign varies from sin 0 to sin pi, which is sin 0 to sin pi, that is first and second quadrants in which sign is positive. Plus in positive into positive gives us positive, and that's how we get x sin pi x is positive. Now in this case, when x lies from 1 to 3 by 2, x is positive and sine is, now let's see, x is positive. Sine varies from sin pi to sin 3 pi by 2, which is the third quadrant, which makes it negative. So here we have positive into negative, which is negative. So we observe that between -1 to 0 and 0 to 1, x sin pi x is positive, whereas between 1 to 3 by 2, x sin pi x is negative. And so the definition of modulus function we have, modulus of this would be plus x sin pi x when x lies between -1 to +1, and negative of this when it is 1 to 3 by 2. And then we simply write I as from -1 to 1 it is positive, and from 1 to 3 by 2 it is negative. Simplifying using integration by parts, we get the answer as I is equal to 3 pi plus 1 by pi by 2. Let's take up a similar question when exactly the same function, same limits, but instead of sine we have cos. Now in this case we'll have to split up this into smaller intervals, then rather than as in the previous one we took it as -1, 0, 1 and 3 by 2. Here we'll have to do it as -1, -half, 0, pi by half, 1 and 3 by 2. Reason is cos is positive in first, negative in the second, then negative in the third and positive in the fourth. That is why we'll have to split it into smaller subintervals. So let's see, when x belongs to -1 to -half, this value becomes negative into negative, which is positive. Reason, x very obviously is negative, and cos varies from -pi to -pi by 2. That is the third quadrant and hence negative. When x belongs to -half to 0, again x is negative and cos becomes positive. Reason being it is in the fourth quadrant and so positive. When x belongs to 0 to half, this is product of both positive, which is positive. X very obviously is positive, and cos pi x, cos varies from cos 0 to cos pi by 2, which is first quadrant and so positive. When x belongs to half to 1, x obviously is positive, but cos pi x is negative because it is in the second quadrant and cos is negative in that. Lastly, when x belongs to 1 to 3 by 2, obviously x is positive, but again cos is negative because cos varies from pi to 3 pi by 2, which is in the third quadrant. So by the definition of modulus, we have modulus of x cos pi x will be, you can split it into positive and negative in the various intervals, and thus the required integral can be found out as sum of 4 integrals. From -1 to -half it is positive, from -half to 0 negative, then 0 to half positive, and half to 3 by 2 it is negative, which can be easily solved using integration by parts. Thank you.